I just
Yeah.
wrote down, just in case you needed that, like just a reminder about primary lymphatic. I just did like a page.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody did ask me about lipedema, and lipedema looks similar, but it's a different condition. But the great thing is they are all can be resolved with all the techniques you're showing. So even your plate would be great for somebody with lipedema. So
Boom. Well, there
boom.
you have it, folks. You just caught a
There.
sneak peek of our situation that we have going on. What's happening? My name is Xavier, and that is my girl Lori. And today we're talking about the benefits of dry brushing. So if you are into that and you want to learn a little bit more, this is what I suggest you do. I just want you to stay tuned, folks. Let's go. All right, guys, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Master of Solutions, Xavier Smith, aka Coach X, and I got my champion, Lori Potter, wellness coach and licensed medical massage practitioner.
Got it.
Um, awesome, yay! And
Yay.
we're gonna get right down to it. Now, if you didn't catch our episode last week, I have already placed a link to our podcast within the comments. So just be sure to find that link and get caught up. But Lori, let's do a quick recap. Last week we were talking about, well, I was talking about lymphedema, and you were talking about lipedema. So let's spend about 5 minutes talking about the difference between the two.
The
Ready?
two.
Go.
Perfect. Well, last week we did talk about secondary lymphedema, which is something you see usually in people that have injuries. So if we just go back and talk about what lymphedema is, it's kind of like for people that have it, it's an achy, heavy feeling in the legs. It causes difficulty moving. People that have lymphedema, whether it's primary or secondary, could have skin infections. Primary lymphedema is something that somebody is born with. So it's kind of like a malfunction or deformity in the development of the lymphatic vessels in the body. So it's not something that they can control. But secondary lymphedema, even though that may not be controllable, is usually from an injury to one of the lymph vessels, or it could be things like the ankles, knees, joints around the lymphatic that cause a disturbance in those areas where they're supposed to clean out the toxins through the lymph nodes.
Mm.
Somebody reached out to me and asked me, is this the same as lipedema? Lipedema is not the same. Lipedema is a problem with it looks similar, but I think the skin feels a little bit different. It's more spongy, usually more dimpled. This is kind of that effect with UC. It's usually even on both sides of the body. That's where you see somebody that looks like they almost have like water stuffed in their skin on both legs. It's very even.
Yeah.
It's a problem with the fat and the connective tissue in the body. But the one thing that's similar to all three of them is what we talked about was that like diet, exercise, and movement. So like using that power plate or other tools like we're going to talk about today
Yeah.
are going to help them all. So regardless of the condition, it gives you another tool to help you control these things that people have to live with and just basically have a better life day to day. We all want to live a happy life. We want to feel good. And so I love where we're
Yeah.
going with this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. And just to make sure we have a clear understanding, because I looked it up too, using my uh, fantastic resources at Google, and I was asking what the difference was, and this is what I read. It says where lipedema is primarily a condition that is characterized by the increased fatty tissue in the affected area. Lymphedema is essentially a buildup of the lymph fluids within these tissues. And lymphedema occurs because of the blockage in your lymphatic system, which is a part of your immune system, which is basically what Lori just said.
Right. And primary lymphedema and lipedema tend to affect both sides of the body. And I'm going to tell you, all three conditions really are something, again, like these are medical diagnoses. You should talk, if you're having symptoms like this, please talk to your primary care physicians. There's a lot of things I believe about in the natural healing world, but having
Hmm.
somebody to help you manage these conditions. But I also want people to understand that there are other ways to help manage these conditions, because obviously taking a bunch of medication isn't always going to be the answer. So helping yourself with any of these three conditions the best way you can is going to help you have a better life. And so the only one to me that stuck out, which is what we talked about, the secondary, because I think a lot of times people don't know that they have that, especially if they've injured part of their body. They just assume, that tissue gets enlarged in parts of the body due to an injury, and that usually is true to some extent, but it's also scar tissue and other things building up, and you need to address it, because with time, you could really lose range of motion, ability to walk, all those different things. So but
Yes.
I like where we're going with this. They all do serve, all like what we're talking about with your power plate and the movement, and what we're going to talk about today are all ways to help people live a better quality of life. And they're
There you
simple.
go. I love it. And I love simplicity. As a matter of fact, before we switch and change gears and talk about what we plan to talk about today, I wanted to bring up a quick little video so you can see the power and the magnitude of this power plate, which is what we were just talking about. So let me see if I can find that quick commercial, and I'll bring that up right away. Here it is. You have it. These guys, Power Plate is the leader in whole body vibration. I don't know if you caught any of the text in there, but great solution for people who are interested in preventing falls as you age, increasing that circulation, and that's what we're all about, folks. We want to give you as much information and as many ways to get those solutions into your life, and that's why I have my champion Lori partnering up with me on this day. So, all right. So we just talked to you a little bit about the difference between lipedema and lymphedema. I just presented you a commercial about a solution that you can get into your life that will help you move without killing yourself in a traditional gym. And now we're going to get into some of the other solutions that might be great for just getting that blood moving, getting that blood circulating. Uh, Perhaps like I did out of the shower, re I found my dry brush after years of being missing in action, and we can get into a little bit of a story. But Lori, let's talk about dry brushing and its benefits.
Sure. Dry brushing kind of came about as I want to call it a little bit of a fad a few years ago. I noticed that all of a sudden these dry brushes were popping up all over the internet. And so I thought, well, I kind of want to see what this is about. So I started kind of researching the benefits, and it's amazing. So I thought, well, I'm going to try this, because I
Mm.
myself have had torn meniscus in both my knees. So my lymph nodes around those areas where I have a lot of garbage inside the knee cavity sometimes get a little bit clogged up, especially if I do something like run through an airport, which I shouldn't do, but I have done.
Yeah.
Or too much walking on the beach, same thing. Um,
Mhm.
so the dry brushing is just kind of a nice little way of helping the lymphatic to move. One of the things about dry brushing that I like is, I mean, the goal, I think the reason why people get lymphatic buildup is we move less. We sit a lot more, whether it's in chairs or desks or cars or traffic. And that lymphatic dry brush is just kind of a way to help put just enough pressure on the skin to open those gates so that they can move lymphatic fluid through the body. So
Yes.
again, it's just kind of another tool I don't think there's, in all the tools that you and I are going to talk about, there's not one that's a right answer. What I feel like is the more you give your body, it's kind of like if you think you're going to a war for health, right? And so I'm going to give myself every tool I can. And this is like a cheap, easy tool that everybody can use. And it's simple. You don't have to do it right out of the shower. I mean, some people, I will tell you, might have a little bit of a problem with it. So if the bristles bother your skin too much, you could actually probably do it over light clothing. But the trick to dry brushing is just long strokes, and you're going to start. I usually, when I teach it to people, try to teach them to go from the bottom. You can brush the bottom of the foot and then start at the outside of the ankle and go up. And then
Mm.
just like you're doing with your arm, start at the hand and kind of, you can put your arm above your head and kind of brush down towards the armpit. So inside the armpit, you've got axillary nodes. You've got a bunch of lymph nodes under the arm, all the way down into the armpit area. And so it is a good thing to do when you're out of the shower because you're in God's birthday suit, right?
There you
Little
go.
naked. Um, but I would tell you that you don't have to brush really hard. This is not about digging into your body. It's
Mm.
just about increasing that circulation with nice long fluid strokes. So
There
it
you
actually
go.
feels fantastic.
It
I would tell,
does.
yeah, I would tell people, I think one of the things that I've talked about when I teach it to somebody is I like to start from the outside of the ankle and move to the outside of the knee and then kind of come over the front of the leg come all the way up to your underwear line. So I always tell
Yep.
people, don't forget the whole leg. And also remember to do the belly. Like the belly, also, you have a lot of lymphatic vessels, nodes, and you've also got some organs inside that are part of your lymphatic system that need to be brushed as well.
That is beautiful. As a matter of fact, I can share a little bit of my story. You're looking at a guy who had a saddle pulmonary embolism a few years back, where a blood clot traveled from my calf all the way up and deposited itself on both lungs and left me in the ICU for about a week and a half. So
Wow.
I consider myself very blessed to be here because years before that, I actually had a heart attack too. That was when I was 29 years old. So the reason, let's talk about the why. Why am I doing stuff like this? Well, I've learned some lessons, and I feel like because I'm still here, it's my job, my responsibility to help others avoid some of the pitfalls that I've already experienced in life. So, and then when I meet up and team up with people like you who have specialized knowledge and who also want to help people resonate, just kind of go higher in life instead of lower. I think that is a beautiful combination, and I appreciate the fact that we have connected and been fast friends ever since. Because here's the bottom line: if I can help you avoid some of these things, why not take advantage of this information? So the question is, have you tried dry brushing? And if you are watching live, if you watch this later, I would love for you to drop your comments because we'd like to know. Post below because I'd like to know. That's what I like to say. Is have you ever tried this? What's your experience like? Be sure to leave your comments below because we want to acknowledge you. And if you are watching, let us know where you're watching from and who you are. So, Lori, what was there anything else that you wanted to mention?
Um, Coach, I was just going to say that if anybody in your audience that's watching wants to um, DM me, they can find me on Messenger, I guess probably might be the best place.
Yes.
They are more than welcome. I can cam up with them and walk them through just one quick session. It doesn't take more than 10 minutes just to explain it. But I'd be more than happy to walk somebody through. Of course, there's always YouTube and other resources for these types of videos. The one caution that I would tell people is try to always go from the extremities. So that would mean like the bottom of the feet and the hands towards the heart. And
There you go.
and yeah, I would tell people just don't. I don't think you're going to do any massive damage to anything, but we know that the blood return is to the heart always. Like that's the way that we want to do is return blood to the heart. And because this doesn't affect just the lymphatic system, you're also giving blood flow. It's similar to massage, right? So you're affecting
Yeah.
circulation. So that's my big advice on that is try to take it towards the heart.
There you go. And just so you know, I have placed her information, Lori's information, right there across the ticker. You should be seeing that somewhere on the bottom of your screen. She's been gracious enough to disseminate her contact information. So please take advantage because what we want to do here is help. Bottom line. Okay. All right. So, Lori, oh, and also I should mention that I do have an Amazon store that's created specifically for my followers, my viewers, my audience, specifically for people who are looking for solutions in their life. And they might as well go to a source that they trust, right? Because, you know,
Mm-hmm.
everybody that I talk to, who doesn't know about Amazon? So we've created a nice little curated section. This one, I believe you will find this in the self-care section, and which brings us to some of the other tools that you might be wanting to use to help simulate or create a better situation for your mind, body, and soul. And what I'm thinking about is cupping. Lori, can you tell us a little bit more about cupping?
Oh my gosh. Cupping's been around for a long, long time. For anybody that uses naturopathic medicine, you'll know that if you go see um, a naturopathic doc, that's usually one of the forms. But cupping is just a form of helping the tissue to be more pliable. Really, that's what it does. And
Yeah.
so the one caution I would say, I know you and I are going to talk about a product we can get off of Amazon to do cupping for ourselves. I always tell people start a little smaller with this and then go big. For anybody suffering from lipedema or lymphedema, where they have a great amount of fluid buildup, they might need to work into the dry brushing first and then in movement and then come back to cupping
Hmm.
because cupping itself can be a little it puts a lot more pressure on the surface tension of the skin, but basically it is exactly what it sounds like. You place a cup on and you can press on the cups that you and I are going to talk about from Amazon. They'll create and pull the pressure up. So what pulling the pressure on the skin and the muscle up lifts it, what it does is it allows lymphatic fluid and circulation to increase.
Mm.
So these home cupping sets are great. You are definitely don't believe you're going to hurt yourself with them, but I always tell people read and follow the directions on the package. And then if again too, it's another tool. If they want help, I can show them. But there's also videos out there. You can put lotion on and lift the cups and move the skin. It kind of creates like a vacuum on the skin. And again, another tool in helping you to increase circulation and lymphatic movement in the body. So,
Awesome. And as a matter of fact, I just shared my page to the Amazon store. And let me just click on the cupping product that we're talking about right here,
yeah, I
just so you can.
absolutely love these. Sorry about that,
Yeah,
Coach.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. Because I have done a visit with my naturopathic, and
Hmm.
she used cupping on a couple of issues, and I came out of that session feeling like brand new, because
Yeah.
this was obviously the first time that I had done that, and so it was something brand new to my life experience. But uh, if you were to ask me if I were to do it again, I would say yes.
So
So
the
I
tools.
totally am in agreement with.
You're in agreement. This set that you're showing, the way that they work is you either squeeze the sides, and you'll play with it a little bit. You'll
Mhm.
get a suction on the skin, and then if you push down on the top of that cup, that lower cup, it will increase the suction. So I tell people there's different ways to kind of play with that. You can also put just a light little bit of oil or lotion on the leg or arm before you work on those, and then that will allow that you can kind of grab the top and slide. So there's some different methodologies to do with this, but they're kind of a really neat tool. Like if you're having pain in your calf, you could pop that larger one on the back of the calf and walk around with it. They'll stay on
Wow.
pretty well. Every once in a while when I travel, I take that little tiny one and I just kind of bring it for my neck. You get that stiff neck when you're riding on the airplane. But they're just such another tool to throw in. Like if you're having a
Yep.
problem, I know you mentioned like with your ankle, that little tiny one you could put, down and around the fibularis, the side of the leg,
Hmm.
and just see if you can free up a little bit of the connective tissue and the muscle that might be bound. But it's again another way to help lift that skin and the tissue up, the connective tissue up, so that the lymphatic and the circulation are moving better. So, and I would
There you
combine
go.
cupping and dry brushing together, especially if you're in between massage visits. This is like a great tool to help you till you get to your next massage.
Awesome. Awesome. And the reason I like this, Lori, is because we're talking about not just one solution that is a, be all end all, but we're talking about a combination of solutions because one size does not necessarily fit all. So I
Mm-mm.
love the approach that, we want to find solutions that work for that individual person. And
Right. And coach, like this, I think this might says it maybe comes with a book. Again,
Mhm.
they're videos. If you just type in lure cupping YouTube, you're going to find videos of people using these. But I think the one thing in general that you and I probably both agree on, because we're aging just like everybody else. But when you're really young, everything is all about your look and your weight and the scale. And but what I think as we get older is injuries build, things build up. I think really when we start talking about how do I stay healthy and keep moving, right? How do I keep my body moving?
Right.
All of these tools, the power plate, the dry brush, and the cups are ways to help people to keep connective tissues, joints, everything the way that they should be.
Boom.
I just,
There you
I
go.
think, you and I come from a generation, I think our grandparents, I think there used to be this mentality that, you got to 50 and you're old. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Like you should be able to move. I mean, and we know that there's cultures across the world. Like you look at the Okinawans from Japan, and these people are
Right.
living well, into 110. So it's like, and I will tell you the biggest thing you notice about cultures like that is healthy eating and movement, right?
There you
Movement
go.
looks different. So here's some tools to keep everybody moving, coach.
That's it. That is it. I love it because without that, it's not the fact that we get old; it's the fact that we stop moving, which makes us old.
Exactly.
So
Right.
I feel totally 100%, 1000% on board with what you just said, Lori.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, let us know, folks. Is this something that you have an interest in? Do you know someone who might be suffering from lipedema or lymphedema? Perhaps you know someone who's interested in the benefits of dry brushing, or perhaps you have someone in your life that is getting up there in age, still wants to be physical, but doesn't necessarily want to kill themselves in a traditional gym. Well, we've got solutions for you, folks. We talked about a little bit about the power plate, and I shared a little video of how this is applied to people in perhaps elder care facilities, and how it is phenomenal at helping increase circulation, range of motion, and even fall prevention. So if you're looking for solutions, folks, just let us know because we've got a ton of them. Lori, what about you? Is there anything else that you'd like to present before we sign off?
Oh my gosh, coach, you and I could probably talk all day long about
Right?
movement.
Yeah.
Because I'm like you, it's a subject that's pretty near and dear to my heart. Especially when you start talking about, I think the one thing I would say to everybody is I know certain products are you're like, oh, I can't afford that, or I can't do that. The dry
Right.
brush range on Amazon, $8 to $15. Those lure cups are a little more expensive. They run right at 30. I've got, I think, 2 or 3 sets of them, and I've had them forever. You just wash them with a little bit of soap. You can reuse them. Um, so I'm glad today that we gave them two very simple, like cheap. I know people are struggling in this economy. Very two easy, simple
Mhm.
solutions, and then from there, the other solution that I say that's always within our power is to eat the best you can, eat as clean as you can. Those are, you and I talk about this too. Those are all those foods that have one ingredient, and then don't come with that don't come with ingredients that you can't say it. If you can't say it, don't eat it.
Right,
But
right.
just simplify life, move. If you can't afford a gym pass, get out and walk the block. Come back when you're done and your circulation's moving. Dry brush. See how different you feel.
Right.
Those cups. You're having, a rough day getting up in the morning. Get in a hot shower. Slap one of those cups on while you move around and get ready and see, and then just massage your leg or arm or wherever it's hurting. We all have tools within our own disposal that we can use to help ourselves live our best lives. So,
You
yeah.
said it. You said it, Lori. Lori, I want to thank you so much for dedicating a little bit of time to us to, just give out the information out there. I like to say information to transformation. We give out the information. Now it's up to you to let it lead to transformation. And we are definitely here to help. And as I part with you today, I just want to leave you with this one simple reminder. If you really want to be happy, nobody can stop you.
Love that, coach.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. You got to make those choices, champ. And some of them are pretty hard sometimes, considering, what's going on out there in the world. But I choose to be happy, and I'm not going to let anyone stop me on that.
Love it, love it, love it.
Yay. So stay right there, Lori. We'll sign off. And I just want to there we go, find my little sign off. All right, folks, we have done the best we can to get you that information. Hopefully you will allow it to lead to transformation, and I'll see you next time.